Here is a side view of the intestinal model. Again, we can see the four layers. Over here, this is the muscularis mucosae, which marks the boundary between the mucosa and the submucosa. And right over here, we see the circular and longitudinal layers that make up the muscularis externa. Then finally, here we have the serosa. This would be your visceral peritoneum, which would include a mesothelium and underlying connective tissue. Here is the mucosa. Here is a villus, looking at it from the side. And here you can see two intestinal glands. This one is actually the duct of a deeper gland, which we'll talk about as part of the submucosa. So here we can see an intestinal gland. And if we look more closely at it, we can see the same things we talked about earlier. The simple columnar epithelium. The cells in the gland are secretory in function. We can see some goblet cells represented here, and these cells over here, which are colored red, would again be Paneth cells. And this gray material with blood vessels that surrounds the gland would be part of the lamina propria. Here you can see the two layers of the muscularis mucosae. Here's a closer view of the submucosa. This submucosa is part of the duodenum. And the reason we know that is because the duodenum is where you find this submucosal gland in the submucosa. So this is the submucosal gland, and it would be emptying its secretions by way of this duct into the lumen of the duodenum. This is a look at the muscularis externa. This would be the circular layer, and this is the longitudinal layer. And you can see the yellow represents, again, nerves of the myenteric plexus. Here now we have the serosa, which is also the visceral peritoneum. And it has a mesothelium, which consists of a simple squamous epithelium. So these cells are flat, and there's only one layer of them. And right underneath we have the underlying supportive connective tissue of this serous membrane.